10 really quick.
All right, you're charged with one count of third-degree burglary. I'm going to enter plea of not guilty. Mr. Arichetto, I need to let you know that you have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. There is an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this evening's hearings. I'm going to hear first from the prosecutor's office regarding their bond recommendation, and then I will hear from your attorney. And looks like he's got a hold on another felony matter. Ms. Goodman.
Your Honor, the state is recommending 3,500 with pretrial services. If bond is posted, I do acknowledge he has no criminal history. Nonetheless, he does have another hold for a similar offense that took place the same day against another victim. So he was ongoing within the community, breaking into local businesses.
Defense counsel?
Judge, we're asking for a $1,000 bond for Mr. Arichetto. Again, he has very limited criminal history. He's only 23 years old, and it appears his criminal history is just from February of 2025. So we're asking that, but he's being held on another bond that he's unable to pay. So we're asking for a $1,000 bond for 10 credits.
Mr. Arichetto, your bond set at $3,000. No contact with the victim in this case. Don't go back to the incident location. Public Defender's Office is appointed to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is set to February 20th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. Your attorney will be in touch with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Nati, go ahead and take a seat over there. Gonzalez.
What is your full name, please?
Kevin Cruz Gonzalez.
So Mr. Gonzalez, it looks like you have two separate felony charges. One case is a taking contraband into a correctional facility. The other case is a criminal trespass in a first degree. Both allegedly occurred February 4th, 2025. I am going to enter pleas of not guilty to both charges. Let you know you do have a constitutional right to remain silent and to be represented by an attorney. There is an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for tonight's hearing. And I'm going to hear first from the prosecutor's office regarding their bond recommendation, and then I'll hear from your attorney. Ms. Goodman? Ms. Goodman, I can't hear you.
Is that better, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. The state is recommending 2,500 with pretrial services for each case, and that will be based on the nature of the offenses, Your Honor. The concern as well is that the defendant does not have known residents. There is a history of failing to appear as he scores a 4 of 6 on the NCAFTA. But the main concern is the criminal trespass case as well, Your Honor, as the victims woke up, the defendant standing right in front of their bed. There is the main concern for the nature of the offense.
Defense counsel?
Judge, we're asking that Mr. Gonzalez is released to pretrial services, or if you're not inclined, a $1,000 bond. These charges were identified by pretrial services as nonviolent, and he has no felony history. So we're asking that he's released to pretrial services.
Mr. Gonzalez, on a criminal trespass case, your bond set at $2,500. On the taking contraband into a correctional facility, your bond is set at $1,000. For the criminal trespass matter, you are not allowed to have any contact with the alleged victims. Don't go back to that residence location. Public Defender's Office is appointed in both cases. In both cases, your preliminary hearing is set February 20th at 1:30 p.m. for both cases. Your attorney will be in touch with you soon. Thank you.
Gonzalez, go ahead and go out that door. Take a seat to the left part corner, right, bud? Go down the stairs. Pásale.
What is your full name, please?
¿Cuál es su nombre completo, por favor?
Carlos Lagarda.
Carlos Lagarda.
You're charged with being a fugitive from justice out of the state of Texas.
A usted se le imputa el delito de ser fugitivo de la justicia desde el estado de Texas.
And I believe the charge may be a theft of petroleum product.
Y creo que el delito se trata de robo de un producto de petróleo.
I'm going to enter plea of not guilty.
Voy a registrar una declaración de no culpable.
I need to let you know that you do have a constitutional right to remain silent and to be represented by an attorney.
También le tengo que recordar que usted cuenta con el derecho constitucional de guardar silencio y a que lo represente un abogado.
There is an attorney who is seated next to you who's going to argue for your position tonight, and then you'll also get appointed another attorney for your extradition matter.
Bueno, ahorita una abogada sentada a su lado que va a defender o argumentar su postura hoy, también va a tener otro abogado que lo va a representar en cuanto a su asunto de extradición.
I'm going to hear first from the prosecutor's office regarding their bond recommendation, and then I'll hear from your attorney.
Primero voy a escuchar de la fiscalía para escuchar su recomendación sobre la fianza y luego voy a escuchar de su abogada.
Okay.
Ms. Goodman?
Your Honor, the state is recommending the bond amount requested of 50,000.
Bueno, su señoría, la fiscalía está pidiendo la cantidad de fianza pedida que viene siendo de 50,000.
As the defendant is a flight risk, he attempted to flee to Mexico, where he was detained.
Como corre el riesgo a que el acosado se dé la fuga, que intentó darse la fuga a México.
And the amount,
Antes de que lo detuvieran. I'm sorry, antes de que lo detuvieran. Go ahead.
and the amount of the theft, Your Honor, is rather significant, 300,000. That's the basis of the recommendation.
Y también la cantidad o valor de lo que robó viene siendo una cantidad valorada en $300,000 y por eso se basa la recomendación de la fianza.
The jail, does he have an ICE hold on him?
No, Your Honor, he does not.
Bueno, ahí en la cárcel él tiene una orden de arresto de detención o retención de parte de inmigración. No, su señoría.
Defense counsel?
Judge,
Go ahead.
Judge, we're asking that Mr. Lagarda is released to pretrial services with the instruction to resolve this in Texas.
Bueno, su señoría, vamos a pedir que se quede su vigilancia de servicios privados a juicios con la intención de resolver el asunto allá en Texas.
This warrant appears to be very recent, and these charges appear to be nonviolent.
Bueno, este orden de arresto parece ser muy reciente con cargos de un delito no violento.
And he was arrested at the Looport entry into the United States, Judge. So based on that, I don't believe he was aware of the warrant.
Bueno, entonces a él lo arrestaron en la garita de la entrada de un puerto de Loopville. Entonces, creo que él no estaba enterado del orden de arresto.
So we're asking that he's released.
Entonces vamos a pedir que quede en libertad.
And Judge, if I may, there, over here on jail records, they're saying he was held on a no bond on January 6th.
Or no, February 6th.
February 6th.
In Ajo.
He was seen in Ajo.
For what charge?
Bueno,
For this fugitive.
sorry, what was the charge?
Yeah, when was the charge?
So, Your Honor, he was booked in an Ajo jail on the 5th, and he was seen in Ajo court on the 6th, I believe, and we put his bond in on the no bond. And then he was transferred from Ajo to Pima here, and he was only here for an FW number. But it appears there is one, so he does not need to actually be seen.
Okay, so we
Bueno.
don't see him?
We don't need any paperwork on his end.
Do we need to appoint the legal defender for him?
I believe so, because he has a future court date for the 11th of February.
Tomorrow, okay.
Bueno, resulta que ya existe un expediente en cuanto a su caso y que a usted lo vieron en el tribunal de Ajo el 16 de febrero y decidieron que no iban a permitir ninguna fianza. Y luego estuvo ahí un par de días y luego lo transfirieron la cárcel de Pima, donde y usted ya tiene o está matriculado con un número. Um, uh, y luego, did you say his following hearing was going to be on the 11th of February?
That is correct.
Y que su próxima audiencia va a ser el día 11 de febrero.
So
Mhm.
an Ajo judge already held him without bond. I just needed to appoint a legal defender,
Yes, that is correct, Your Honor.
and he had the
Entonces,
hearing February 11th.
Yes.
Thank you.
Entonces, como ya lo vio otro juez en Ajo, la única cosa que puedo hacer o debería hacer es asignarle o nombrarle un defensor legal. Así es, su señoría. Y su próxima audiencia es el 11 de febrero.
Okay, thank you.
Muy bien, gracias.
Jail, do we need the Spanish interpreter for any other case?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Spanish interpreter, you're excused. Just be available in case we need you.
Thank you, Judge. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll be right back. Yes, sir.
We're doing misdemeanors now, right?
Yeah.
I know, it's okay. Every time there's a fugitive warrant, it's like the first time. It's so.
This one was an auto transfer, so all the people were just. And they just confusing us.
Yeah.
See, I don't see it.
Yeah.
And there's no bonds set anywhere. There's a bond listed. but
Yeah.
it's on this profile, once. And each time he went to court.
Oh, it makes sense to just work tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay, I'm like, I think more so now, just to like, I'm like, can you put it on the, this? And I'm telling, and I'm like, and they just breathing in it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, starvation.
But do you think there's like a, I don't know, maybe sometimes like with the juvenile cases, like when a kid like goes back there, they like get seen again as if it's the first time, but it's not the first time. It's just like kind of like.
Juveniles, the island, that you have like down good smooth like date. So everything else is just happening.
And I still think movies on out with like sometimes a lot of something here. No. Yeah. So,
What is your full name, sir?
Angel Martino Bonilla.
All right, looks like you're wanted in Cochise County Superior Court for some sort of unauthorized use of a vehicle. I am going to quash the warrant. I will release you, sir, and you've got to make sure you appear in Cochise County. Do you understand?
Okay, thank you.
If you don't, you're gonna get another warrant for you. You're,
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm being released today?
yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Stand up now. But if I take a seat in the far left corner, right? Okay. We feel like coming. You can see okay. Good.
What is your full name, please?
William Edward Thompson Jr.
Looks like you had a warrant for your arrest at a justice court for a failing to stop at an accident scene that occurred allegedly July 16th of 2018. I am going to enter plea of not guilty. Do you been living in Tucson?
Yeah, and I had been paying
Hold
on
on,
fine, but
hold on. I just asked if you were living in Tucson. You'll need to appear in justice court to resolve this matter. I don't know what the issue is, so I'm going to release you. You'll need to appear in justice court February 19th at 9:30 a.m. If you don't appear, another warrant's going to issue for your arrest. You are excused.
Thank you. Anderson? Exactly.
What is your full name, please?
Okay, Janelle Anderson.
How do you spell your middle name?
I don't know. J, start with J. It's just
Sorry.
Janelle.
How do you spell your
Jamel.
first name?
Jamel.
How do you spell it?
I think JERMAMAL.
J-E-R.
MAL.
Okay. All right. Looks like you're charged with domestic violence assault, domestic violence criminal damage. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty. I'm going to release you. Make sure you appear in city court March 11th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. If you do not appear, a warrant will issue for your arrest. You are not allowed to commit any further acts of domestic violence. And make sure you appear in court. You're excused. Thank you.
Thank you, Mel.
Go ahead and take a seat in the far left corner. Right? Yes. Yeah, go downstairs, take a seat in the far left corner, but
What is your full name, please?
Jerome Grant Blassinger.
All right, so it looks like there's charges of domestic violence assault, domestic violence disorderly conduct. The alleged incident date was from May 30th of 2024, and then you picked up a new charge today for unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia. You already have a domestic violence case pending in city court, and it looks like you didn't appear for a change of plea hearing. I am going to enter pleas of not guilty to the newest charges, set a bond at $2,000 cash. City Public Defender's Office is appointed to represent you. February 19th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. is your next court date in city court, and it'll be for all three cases in city court. You are excused. Thank you.
go ahead and take a seat in the far left corner. Go down the steps, right? Anthony?
What is your full name, please?
Damon Anthony DiMadonna, ma'am.
All right, so it looks like you have new charges of domestic violence, criminal damage, domestic violence disorderly, criminal damage and disorderly conduct. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty. Hold on a second. I'm not seeing them as domestic violence charges. And then a domestic violence interfering with judicial proceeding charge. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty.
Far left corner.
Set your next court date for, I'm sorry, your bond's set at $2,500.
Okay.
The Greenwich Law Firm is appointed as counsel, and they'll be representing you on all 5 cases. Your next court date is February 19th at 1:30 p.m. in city court. And don't have any contact with the alleged victim in this case, and don't commit any further acts of domestic violence. Your attorney. will
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You're excused.
Thank you.
Go ahead and go down the steps, far left corner. Mr. Otto. Daniel?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and take a seat, bro.
What is your full name, please?
Daniel Christopher Estrada.
You're charged with 1 count of domestic violence criminal damage. I'm an inner plea of not guilty. I will release you. Do not commit any further acts of domestic violence. Your next court date is going to be March 11th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. Make sure you appear. If you do not, a warrant will issue for your arrest. You are excused. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead and go down the steps, far left corner again. Peter Patterson.
What is your full name, please? What is your full name?
Angelique Patterson,
What's your middle name?
Lynn,
How do you spell it?
Linn.
You had a warrant for your arrest for unlawful possession of prescription drug, unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia from July 14th, 2024. I'm going to enter plea of not guilty. I will release you. Looks like you haven't been arraigned on these charges. I need to let you know that I'm going to release you. Your next court date is going to be March 21st, 2025 at 9 a.m. You must be present. If you're not present, a warrant could issue for your arrest, and a new charges of failing to appear could be added to your case. You do have a right to appear for all court appearances. Let's say you set your case up for trial at some point and you are found guilty of any of the 2 charges. If you're not present for your trial, a warrant could issue for your arrest. And if 90 days passes and you've not appeared on a sentencing, you forever waive your right to appeal your case. So just make sure you show up on March 21st, 2025 at 9 a.m. I am going to appoint the City Public Defender's Office to represent you. There is a phone number on your paperwork and they will be in touch with you because I see that you're being held on a felony matter. So your city public defender will be in touch with you to talk to you about your case. You're excused.
So I'm not getting out. I'm not getting out right now.
No, because you have a hold on your felony matter. You're excused.
Yeah.
Go ahead and go down the stairs, take us in the courtroom. Jesse, right?
What is your full name, please?
Jesse Ray Peltier.
All right. What's your middle name?
Ray,
Please spell it.
R-A-Y.
Your charge is one count of domestic violence interfering with judicial proceeding charge. I'm gonna enter plea of not guilty. I see that pretrial services did a workup on you and they're assessing your level at a level 1. I'm gonna give you a chance. It looks like you've lived in Tucson all your life. You work full time. You have family members that live in Tucson. So there was an order of protection allegedly served on you, and you're not supposed to be having contact with the victim in this case. I'm going to order that you have no contact with that person. Do not call, text, social media. Don't go to that person's residence or work location. Do you understand, sir?
Yes.
Stay away from the person. Don't even contact. Even if the person contacts you, don't contact back. I'm going to give you a chance to be released. March 11th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. is your next court date in city court. Make sure you appear. If you do not, a warrant will issue for your arrest. All right, you are excused. Thank you. I don't see any arrest history for Peltier also.
Take a seat, screen right here too.
What is your full name, please?
Brandy Nicole Sanders.
All right, so it looks like the jail found 2 warrants for your arrest at a justice court. One case was a domestic violence criminal damage, domestic violence disorderly conduct case from November 20th of 2019. And then you had a shoplifting warrant from December 5th of 2022. I'm going to quash those warrants. I'm going to set a bond of $500 in each case. Appoint David Mize as your attorney. Your hearing is set for tomorrow, February 11th at 1:00 p.m. And I'll let Justice Court know that you're currently in custody on a felony matter also. So your attorney will also know that, but you'll see a judge in Justice Court regarding the misdemeanor cases only tomorrow. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thanks. You're excused.
I don't know this. Sir.
All right, gentlemen, felony, by no, do, Okay, man. I think it's into a center.
What is your full name, please?
Juan Antonio Avila Martinez.
All right, looks like Pinal County wanted you on a warrant for a unlawful flight from a pursuing law enforcement vehicle. The alleged incident date was from January 27th of 2024. I'm gonna quash that warrant, enter plea of not guilty. They were asking for a $10,000 bond. You also have probation holds on you, I believe, for 2 separate felony cases. Defense counsel?
Judge, we're asking for an attorney appointed in the Pinal County case, and a $1,000 bond full-time credit.
All right, Mr. Avila Martinez, your bond set at $5,000. I will appoint a Pinal County public defender. You're gonna have a review hearing here on March 10th at 9 AM to see if you're still in custody. Thanks, your excuse.
Okay.
Judge, I'm so sorry, the review hearing is set for when?
March 10th at 9 AM.
Thank you.
Like, go ahead and take a seat downstairs at the far left corner, right, bud? Thank you. Carter.
What is your full name, please?
Lewis Carter.
All right, you're charged with, looks like you were arrested for charges involving unlawful possession of narcotic drug, unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia. The state has made a decision at this time to dismiss the charges. So I have signed off on a dismissal. You will be released from custody on these felony matters. There's a possibility the state could refile this case at some later point. So if you receive a summons in the mail to appear, it may be because they refiled the case. You also had a warrant for your arrest at a justice court for a unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia and a criminal trespass in a 3rd degree charges from May 2nd of 2024. I am going to quash the warrant. Sir, you got to appear in justice court. This case will not go away until you appear in court to resolve it. Your next court date in justice court is going to be March 12th at 8:30 AM. I will release you. Make sure you appear. If not, a warrant will issue. Your excuse. Thank you.
Please. Yeah. Yes. Okay. You want to see me?
What is your full name, please?
Pavel Demosthenes or Ibel Demosthenes?
Are you a junior?
No, there's no senior or junior. That's just a joke.
All right, looks like you had a felony warrant for your arrest for burglary in the 2nd degree that allegedly occurred January 8th, 2025. I'm going to enter plea of not guilty. Let you know you do have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. There is an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this evening's hearing. And I will hear first in the prosecutor's office regarding their bond recommendation, and then I'll hear from your attorney. Prosecutor? Prosecutor, we can't hear you.
Your Honor, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Is this better, Your Honor?
Yes.
The state is recommending a $5,000 with pretrial services. The bond recommendation from the court, it's $1,500. Nonetheless, I am weighing in and considering the fact that the defendant has new misdemeanor offenses before the court. He does also have the failed to appear history. He was previously released to pretrial service, but he failed to maintain contact.
I'm not aware of new charges, misdemeanor charges. And I don't have a file regarding that. So you're saying he has new misdemeanor charges?
I'm reviewing the pretrial service workup, and it shows there's the the drug paraphernalia and criminal trespass on the 3rd degree. Date of offense is today's date.
I didn't see that on his pretrial services. I'm looking at it. You sure you got the right person?
Is this Mr. Demons?
Yes, I'm not seeing anything on pretrial services workup about any other misdemeanor charges.
Bear with me, Your Honor. I'm refreshing the page and I'm still seeing the drug paraphernalia and criminal trespass misdemeanors
Oh, okay.
in his.
I see it now. Okay, thanks. I didn't refresh it. All right, defense counsel.
Judge, we're asking that Mr. Demosthenes is released to pretrial services, or if you're not inclined, a $1,000 bond. He is employed, the charges were identified as nonviolent. He's a lifelong resident of Tucson. And Judge, his criminal history is very, very recent. It looks like just from this year. So we're asking that he's released to pretrial services or a much lower bond.
Bond set at $1,500 secured plus release to pretrial services. If he's able to post the bond, he must comply with any monitored treatment as directed by pretrial services. No contact with the victim. Don't go back to the incident location. Public Defender's Office is appointed to represent him, and arraignment date is set for February 18th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. I also do have the misdemeanor case involving the new charges of criminal trespass in one matter, drug paraphernalia and criminal trespass in another case, and in a third case for reckless burning drug paraphernalia. A warrant had gone out for his arrest. I am going to quash those warrants, enter pleas of not guilty, release him March 21st, 2025 at 9 a.m. as his next court date in city court. And I'll appoint the city public defender's office to represent him. Thank you. You're excused.
This is the lower level way. No worry, and so far.
What is your full name, sir?
Michael Stephen Graver.
Charged with domestic violence, aggravated assault involving a deadly weapon. I'm going to enter plea of not guilty. You do have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. There is an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this evening's hearing. I'm going to hear first from the prosecutor's office regarding their bond recommendation, and then I'll hear from your attorney. Ms. Goodman.
Recommendation is $10,000 with pretrial services if the bond is posted, and that's based on the nature of the offense involving a weapon. There is concerns for the victim for continual risk, as the defendant continued to point the weapon when the victim was walking away. The victim does ask the court to consider that does object to the defendant's release, does not want to maintain contact with the defendant, and was no further contact.
Defense counsel.
Judge, we're asking that Mr. Graber is released to pretrial services, or if you're not inclined, a lower bond. He is a full-time student. He is his mother's caretaker. She's in hospice care right now. He has no criminal history at 41. And with regards to housing, his father-in-law and mother-in-law live separately from them. They live in the casita behind their house. However, if you did not allow for him to return home, he is able to get housing apart from the victim. So we're asking that he is released to pretrial services.
Mr. Graber, your bond set at $10,000 plus release to pretrial services. If you're able to post that bond, you must comply with any monitored treatment they recommend. Possess no firearms or weapons. Have no contact with the victim involved in this case. Don't go to that person's residence location. Public Defender's Office is appointed to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is set February 20th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. You are excused. Thank you.
I know it is.
What is your full name, please?
Dustin Hanson.
You are charged with unlawful possession of a dangerous drug, unlawful possession of a narcotic drug, unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia, and tampering with evidence. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty. I need to let you know that you do have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. There is an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this evening's hearing. I'm going to hear first from the prosecutor's office regarding their bond recommendation, and then I'll hear from your attorney. Ms. Goodman.
Honor, the state is recommending 3,500 with pretrial services based on the defendant's history failing to appear. He has multiple failed to appear warrants currently. He has a significant criminal history of 6 prior convictions. That's the state's recommendation, Your Honor.
Defense counsel?
Judge, we're asking that Mr. Hansen's released to pretrial services, or if you're not inclined, a lower bond. Pretrial services identified these charges as nonviolent. He's a lifelong resident of Tucson, and if he were released, he'd return home where he lives with his aunt.
Mr. Hanson, your bond set at $3,500 secured. Public Defender's Office is appointing to represent you. Your preliminary hearing is February 20th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. You also had a warrant for your arrest at a Marana Municipal Court for a shoplifting and unlawful possession of a drug in a drug-free zone. The alleged incident date was from April 25th, 2024. I'm going to quash the warrant, release you. March 12th, 2025 at 10 a.m. is your next court date. And I'll let Marana know that you're currently in custody. And then you had some city court cases, warrants for your arrest on 1, 2, 3, 4 cases, all involving drug paraphernalia charges and then some criminal trespass charges. I'm going to quash those warrants, enter pleas of not guilty, appoint the city public defender's office to represent you. Your next hearing date on your city court cases is March 21st at 9 a.m. Your attorney will be in touch with you soon, and I'll let them know that you're currently in custody on the felony matter. You are excused. Thank you. What is your full name, please?
Salvatore Giannotti.
All right, looks like you have 2 separate felony cases. One case is a unlawful possession of a dangerous drug, unlawful possession of a narcotic drug, unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia. The alleged incident date was February 2nd of 2025. You also have a warrant felony charge for solicitation to possess a dangerous drug. The alleged incident date for that charge is February 6th of 2024. I am going to enter pleas of not guilty. I'll need to let you know that you do have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. You do have an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this evening's hearing. I will let you know there is a probation hold on you. And prosecutors, your bond recommendation?
Honor, the recommendation for the new case, it's, I apologize, Your Honor, it's $5,000 with pretrial service in lieu of the no bond. The defendant is currently on release on a separate, drug offense case, which does show that he does have a scheduled review hearing, which means the defendant is non-compliant. He does have a prior criminal history with 1 prior conviction. I do see that other offense, Your Honor, as being a probation violation warrant that was issued recently. Defendant failed to comply with those conditions. That will be the state's recommendation.
Defense counsel?
Judge, we're asking for a $500 bond for time credit. He does appear to be, it looks like he may be eligible for steps on this charge. Also, or for smart court. Pretrial services identified these as nonviolent, so we're asking for a $500 bond given the probation hold.
All right. Let's see. Here. All right, for each of the cases, the bond set at $2,000 secured. Public Defender's Office is appointed in both cases. On the newest charges, preliminary hearing is set February 20th, 2025. On the warrant case, the arraignment date is set for February 18th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. And everyone's excused. Thank you.
Your Honor,
Yes.
for the warrant case, is it for CR 2024 1405?
Yes.
Your Honor, for that one, that's the probation hold that he currently has the warrant for.
Looks like the alleged offense date was February 6th, 2024. How can he probation be a probation case?
When I'm looking at that case number, Your Honor, it shows the,
Oh, okay, I'm saying
These-
February of 2024. I don't, is he seen? Jail, does he need to be seen on that warrant case?
I do not believe so, Your Honor. It's a extra advisory conditions of release, so it's like a probation warrant.
All right, I guess we'll delete that file, right? All right, we'll delete it. It's $2,000 on a newest charge with a probation hold. Thank you.
And I'm sure just take a seat on our eyes. Nothing, of course. Lens. We'll go.
Yeah. Hold on a second.
So she's gonna be
What is
set
your
over
full
here.
name, please?
Roy Lands,
I'm sorry, what is your full name?
Roy Lands,
What's your middle name, sir?
Gene.
All right, you're charged with criminal damage. I'm an inner plea of not guilty. I need to let you know you do have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. You do have an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this evening's hearing. I'm going to hear first from the prosecutor's office regarding their bond recommendation, and then I will hear from your attorney, Ms. Goodman.
Your Honor, the state is recommending $5,000 with pretrial services, and that's based on the inherent nature of the offense, the risk to the community. The defendant decided to hit and shatter glass from the MVD because he didn't get his way. He attempted to get his driver's license reinstated. He was angry and walked out, damaged a significant amount of property. I do acknowledge he has 2 prior convictions. They're a little bit older. Nonetheless, based on the nature of the offense.
Defense counsel.
Judge, we're asking that Mr. Lands is released to pretrial services. These charges were identified as nonviolent. He's a lifelong resident of Tucson. These priors are very old. According to his daughter-in-law, he is disabled and she has confirmed housing for him. So we're asking that he's released to pretrial services.
Mr. Lance, your bond is set at $2,000 plus release to pretrial services. If you're able to post that bond, you must comply with any monitored treatment as directed by pretrial services. Mark Resnick is your appointed counsel. Your preliminary hearing is set February 20th at 1:30 p.m. And don't go back to that motor vehicle, that specific one. Thank you. You're excused.
Take a seat downstairs. We're getting the next one. It's just in the room. So.
Okay.
Can you get 44? Thank you.
Judge, we're waiting for the next one. They're on their way.
Yep, I got it. Ms. Goodman, on that Jose, I'm sorry, the Molina person, Jose Molina.
Yeah,
One of his
Oh,
cases-
stuck in the prosecute.
One of the cases involves just 2 charges of possession of dangerous drug, possession of drug paraphernalia. Is he truly eligible for steps in light of his other 2 new felony cases?
No, Your Honor, he's disqualified because of those violent priors.
That's all I need to know. Thanks. What is your full name, please?
Jose Molina,
What is your middle name, please?
Fabian.
All right, so you got 3 separate felony cases. One's a warrant for your arrest for charges involving armed robbery with a deadly weapon, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon or dangerous instrument. The alleged incident date was from November 8th of 2023. Then you had 1 felony charge of unlawful possession of a dangerous drug, unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia. The alleged incident date was from February 9th of 2025. And then you had a 3rd case for separate charges of unlawful possession of narcotic drug and refusing to provide your true name, which is a class 2 misdemeanor. The alleged incident date was February 9th, 2025. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty to all the charges. Let you know that you do have a constitutional right to remain silent. You do have an attorney who is seated next to you representing you for this evening's hearing. I'm going to hear first from the prosecutor's office regarding their bond recommendations for each of the cases, and then I will hear from your attorney. Ms. Goodman.
Thank you, Your Honor. As to the new case, the state is recommending in lieu of no bond, $7,000 for pretrial services. That'll be based on the nature of the defendant's history. He has a violent history, failed to appear, 3 prior convictions. He currently has another hold for another case that he failed to appear for his status conference, similar offenses to the other case that he's currently pending a grand jury warrant. I respectfully ask Your Honor also for that grand jury warrant amount of the $5,000 with pretrial service. And again, that will be based on the nature of the offense involving a weapon, the inherent nature and his history. He does pose a risk to the community and he's facing prison.
So the 2 new drug cases, you're asking for $7,000 each?
Well, no.
No, Your Honor, that will be together, the concurrent.
There are 2 separate minute entries.
Your Honor, then I will respectfully request the 5,000 and 2,000 for the case with drug paraphernalia and the obstruction to refuse true name. My apologies, I didn't break down the recommendation.
So 3,000 and 2,000, or what did you say?
5,000, Your Honor, and 2,000.
All right, thank you. Defense counsel.
Judge, Mr. Molina is a lifelong resident of Tucson and his sister confirmed housing. However, there is the hold, so we're asking for a bond for time credit. We're asking for $2,000 bonds on these charges, Judge. It appears in the grand jury warrant case, he was never arrested on that. So he likely didn't know that there was a warrant out for that. So we're asking for $2,000 bonds on these for time credit.
All right, I see he has 1, 2, 3 alleged prior felony convictions also. All right, Mr. Molina, on the new armed robbery case from November 8th, 2023, the bond set at $5,000, no contact with the alleged victim, no, don't go to the residence or work location, possession of firearms or weapons. Public Defender's Office is appointed to represent you. I'm going to quash the warrant. Your arraignment date is set for February 18th at 1:30 p.m. On your 2 new drug cases, your bonds for each of the cases is set at $2,500 each. Public Defender's Office is appointed to represent you. On both cases, your preliminary hearing on both cases is February 20th at 1:30 PM. You are excused. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Morning.
Oh, Moreno. Sí.
Please, I'm just gonna go right now, okay?
What is your full name, please?
Teresa Moreno.
You are charged with, looks like it was a felony warrant for your arrest for unlawful possession of a dangerous drug, unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia. The alleged incident date was from December 21st of 2024. I am going to enter pleas of not guilty, let you know that you do have a constitutional right to remain silent, to be represented by an attorney. The prosecutor's office is okay with your release to the supervision of pretrial services. I will release you to their supervision. You must comply with any monitored treatment as directed by pretrial services. While you're on release status, you are not allowed to drink any alcohol, take any illegal drugs, and do not be in possession of any illegal drugs. Public
Okay, ma'am.
counsel is appointed to represent you. Your arraignment date is set for February 18th at 1:30 PM. You must be present in Superior Court. If you're not, a warrant will issue for your arrest. You are excused. What is your full name, please? If you could unmute.
Sorry, Judge.
Renee Palomino,
What is your middle name?
Anthony.
Looks like you're wanted in Pinal County for, or Santa Cruz County for a charge involving, what was it? Prisoner in possession of contraband. I'm gonna.
Yeah, I would.
Hold on, I'm
Go on.
gonna enter plea of not guilty, enter plea of not guilty. They're asking for a $10,000 bond. Defense counsel?
Judge, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. I'm so sorry. I missed the last thing that you said.
Just asking for your recommendation.
Oh. Judge, we're asking that Mr. Palomino is released and with the instruction to go resolve this issue in Pinal County.
All right, Mr. Palomino.
He was just released from prison. So, Judge, he didn't know that there was the warrant out of Pinal County. He just got out of prison. So we're asking for the opportunity for him to go to Pinal County and resolve it.
Your bond set at $1,000. I'll quash the warrant. Have a review hearing here, March 10th at 9 AM. You also, Mr. Palomino, had a misdemeanor matter, new charges from today's date for resisting arrest and shoplifting. I'm going to enter plea of not guilty. Set your next court date, release you, set your next court date for March 12th, 2025 at 8:30 AM. And let him know that you're currently in custody on a Pinal County matter. You are excused. Thank you.
Judge, I'm sorry, is the misdemeanor out of city court?
No, it's out of justice court.
Sorry, thank you.
So I'm still being held here.
Yeah, so you're being held on the Pinal matter. So, Judge, for clarity, is the bond cash or secured?
Yeah.
I could go take a cigarette then.
What is your full name, please?
Thomas Shelton Pibble.
Pickle, you picked up new charges here in Arizona for theft of means of transportation, unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty. Let you know you do have a constitutional right to remain silent. You do have a right to be represented by an attorney. There is an attorney who is seated next to you. You also had a parole warrant for your arrest out of the state of Arkansas. I'm going to quash that warrant, enter pleas of not guilty. I'm going to hear first from the prosecutor's office regarding their bond recommendation, and then I'll hear from your attorney. Ms. Goodman?
Your Honor, for the new case, the state is recommending $15,000 with pretrial service. The defendant is before the court committing new offense while he's on a parole warrant. I do see the defendant also has 4 prior convictions. There's currently at the DOC hold for the out-of-state prior. Defendant is also known as the fugitive from justice.
Defense counsel?
Judge, we're asking for a $1,000 bond for Mr. Pickle for time credit. He does have the DOC hold, and pretrial services identified these charges as nonviolent.
Mr. Pickle, your bond on the newest charge, theft of means of transportation, is $15,000. No contact with the victim. Public defender's office is appointed to represent you. Actually, would it be the legal defenders? That parole violation is legal defender's office. February 20th, 2025 is a preliminary hearing at 1:30 regarding the Arkansas case. It's held without bond. Legal defender's office is appointed. Fugitive warrant hearing set for February 14th, 2025 at 2:30 p.m. Your attorney will be in touch with you, Mr. Shelton. Thank you. You're excused. All right, everyone's excused.
Thank you,
Thank
Judge.
you,
Have a
Your
good
Honor.
night.
Have a good night.